Okay, friends, let's look back at Russian Egg Roulette, the game with Peyton and Magic, and see how it kind of resembles this whole idea of pulling cards out of the deck. So here is a dozen eggs, and doing a little bit of research, I was able to figure out, well, at least three. I know these top three eggs were the raw ones. Because that's all it takes to actually finish a game is three raw eggs. I took a guess at where the fourth one was. Nobody picked this egg, so I just put that egg there. So at this point, we knew that the chance of getting a raw egg is 4 out of 12, or about 33%, which means the chance of a hard-boiled one is the rest, the other 67%. So what that means is, basically, 33% of the time, the person going first will draw a raw egg. So Peyton, as you remember, he did. He grabbed that one, and it was raw. So 33% is smaller than 67%, which means that there's a pretty good chance the person going first would not get a raw egg. But Peyton did. And now it gets interesting. As soon as that egg's out of the bin, that's where it gets cool, because now Magic's up. And Magic has one fewer raw egg to choose from, and also one fewer egg to choose from. So for Magic, his chance of a raw egg was 3 out of 11, which is 27%. Notice, his chance of a raw egg went down because Peyton was helpful and grabbed a raw egg first. Had Peyton grabbed a hard-boiled egg first, Magic's chances would have gone up. Which means the chance of a hard-boiled egg is the rest, the other 73%. But, you know, as we saw, poor Magic also got a raw egg. And at this point, something kind of fun happened. Take a look.
What is going on? This has never happened. This has never happened in the history of the game. I can't believe that this is real right now. Oh my gosh.
Thanks a lot.
Consider what Jimmy said. This has never happened in the history of the game, thus implying that it's a pretty rare event. For an extra credit point on your homework, I'm going to ask you, what is the chance the first two players both grab raw eggs? Okay, so there you go. Now, Peyton is drawing the third egg. Magic has drawn another raw one, leaving 2 raw eggs out of 10. A very, very good chance of not getting a raw egg. 28% chance of a raw egg, 80% chance of a hard-boiled. What this means is, given the situation that 2 raw eggs have been removed from the quote-unquote deck, there's a pretty low chance of getting another raw egg. And what happened was, if you remember, he did indeed get a hard-boiled egg at this point. And now I love watching Magic Johnson's face at this point. Let's take a look at it.
Oh. What's going on over there? You're good. Magic, not looking good for you, man.
You let me down, bro.
So I do believe Magic is just playing to the camera a little bit when he says, "You're good. You're good." Well, actually, he's not good. He witnessed what should have happened. You got to remember, the first 2 raw eggs those guys drew were the outliers. They were the least likely of the outcomes. What Peyton just drew was the most likely outcome, which makes absolutely perfect sense that he should have gotten it. It would have been very unusual had he gotten a raw egg at a 20% shot, but he didn't. He got a hard-boiled at 80. Okay, next up was Magic, and here's the eggs he's drawing from. Peyton grabbed a hard-boiled one, leaving the same 2 raw eggs that were there for, but now it's out of 9, which means the chance of a raw egg goes back up a little bit. It's 2 out of 9 now. 22% of the time, somebody faced with this choice will get a raw egg. The other 78, they will get a hard-boiled egg, and Magic did get a hard-boiled egg. Okay, so at this point, I love Magic's face right there. So at this point, Jimmy says something interesting to Peyton.
Ooh, the odds are not in your favor, Mr. Manning. Choose wisely.
And I think that's a pretty funny thing to say at this point, because if you think about it, the odds are actually in his favor. There are 8 eggs left. 2 of them are raw, 6 of them are hard-boiled. The odds are actually in his favor. Now, as we saw, Peyton screwed it up and grabbed one of the raw ones. He grabbed this one over here. I just think it shows, I mean, a little bit of Hollywood, but also a little bit of the difficulty people have when they're talking about probability. Now, in light of that, I'd like to propose a question to you all right now. We know that Peyton went first. 5 eggs. There they are right there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then the game was over. Do you think it's more advantageous to draw first, like Peyton did, draw second, like Magic did, or does it not matter if you go first or second? Scratch your answer down. That's going to be a homework question. We'll test it in the next video.